Hi, and welcome to TwoFingerPour Bar Tools 101. So a fun thing we're going over today is a lot of the basic bar tools that we recommend you having in your home if you want to create the cocktails in our YouTube series. So let's go ahead and get started with shaker tins. A common shaker tin you'll see is going to be the Boston shaker, where it is a pint glass on tin. And then one that we prefer to use is going to be tin on tin, commonly referred to as cheater tins. There are a lot of cheater tins that you can purchase online, things like that. Ones that we like to use are specifically from Cocktail Kingdom, and the brand is Carico tins. You are going to spend a little bit more, but they are high quality tins, so if you are going to use them regularly, we really recommend that you invest into that. But another type of tin you can use that you'll commonly find in like department stores or things like that, or kind of in novelty stores, is the 3-piece shaker, where it does have a built-in strainer. That one is good if you are making a single serving cocktail, but it's not really meant for volume. So if you are having parties or things like that, you probably want to go back to the cheater tins for that. Moving on to a mixing glass. So we do have a mixing glass right here. They are a lot easier to work with than, just in my personal opinion, than a pint glass. But a pint glass, if you do have that in your home, that will work sufficiently as well. So a lot of the mixing glasses are going to be double walled, and so they do maintain the temperature a little bit better. And of course, to complete a mixing glass, you do need your bar spoon. So this particular bar spoon is called a Triton bar spoon, obviously because of the fork on it. If you are going to purchase a bar spoon, something we recommend is that you do purchase a bar spoon with a small base on it. A lot of the novelty bar spoons that they have out there do have really, really wide bases, and if you notice, this one is a smaller base, and it is a little bit easier to work with and easier to learn how to stir if you're not accustomed to how to stir cocktails. And of course, no bar is complete without a proper bar blade. So there are a couple bar blades that you can have. Obviously, we like the really thick metal ones. Some people prefer the ones with rubber on them because they have a better grip. The two we wanted to demonstrate today, though, is obviously the top is a bottle opener, but if you flip on the bottom right there, that this one actually is a great assist if you do have pour spouts on your bottles. So how you would utilize that one is take your bottle, hook it in, and then just get under there and pull that out really quick. So we tend to want to use these when you are using pour spouts. If you're not using pour spouts, the other one just will work just as good. So moving on to jiggers, we do have two jiggers modeled for you right now. We do have a Japanese style and a Leopold style. Either one is pretty accurate. This one is weighted, so sometimes that is more comfortable for people to use. It just feels more comfortable in your hands. We personally like to use the Japanese style jigger. With the tall, slender design of this, it is easier when you pour your liquid into the jigger that it won't splash in and out. If you do purchase a Japanese jigger, it will set you back, a good one starting at roughly about $8, but I highly, highly recommend and tell you it is worth the investment. However, if you do purchase one of these, please make sure it does have the internal marking lines on that. So you do have 2 ounces on top, and then the internal marking line on the large side is going to be 1.5 ounces. Flip that around to the small side, the top of it is going to measure at 1 ounce, and inside on the internal marking lines, halfway is 0.5 ounces, the next line up is 0.75 ounces, and then of course the top at 1 ounce. The other jiggers that you do commonly see everywhere, if you're looking at Bevmo or things like that, they are just really, really basic jiggers that you see in just a lot of casino bars, things like that, where they're just flared on both sides. If you do want to handcraft cocktails accurately, we do highly deter you from buying those. A lot of times your liquid splashes in and out and they don't measure very accurately. So highly recommend the Japanese jigger. Moving on to strainers. So if you are going to do our egg white cocktails or things like that, anything muddled, we would recommend in a fine strainer. A lot of people do typically have this in their house already. If you use it a lot in baking or cooking, things like that, any fine strainer works, but the size is what's important. Obviously, you want to fit that over the glass. So moving on to strainers, this one typically is called a Hawthorne strainer. A lot of people also, same as jiggers, they tend to just kind of get any old strainer. The reason why we recommend this is you can notice that the coils are done very, very tightly on this, so it does keep out a lot of ice. The weight is a little bit heavier, so it's easier to use. So when you do cap that over to strain, it will stay secure and it's not falling out. Typically, people tend to get these ones with the smaller coils in it, but if you do look at the difference between the coils, there is a lot of significance there. So we do highly recommend to invest in the Hawthorne style strainer. Moving on to your julep strainer, obviously this was invented from the mint julep drink. A lot of times they serve the mint julep with this capped over it. teeth were really bad back then. There wasn't a lot of dentistry, so they would put that over the julep cup to drink it to keep the cold from reaching their teeth. Now, a lot of us tend to use it with our mixing glass as a strainer as well. But if you do want to get one of those strainers with the tighter coils to keep out even more ice, we do recommend the antique hawthorn strainer. That one fits snugly over that mixing glass and does keep out a lot of that ice. What a lot of people also have at their house already is a hand juicer. I can't stress this enough how important that is to have at your house when you're making cocktails. You really don't want to skip corners at all by buying store-bought lime juice or things like that. That has a lot of added sugar and it will compromise the integrity of the tasting of your cocktail. So please invest in one of these as well. Another thing, this is just a kitchen utensil in general, really nice paring knife. So a nice paring knife, you want to make sure you take care of that, clean it, things like that. But obviously any knife for your kitchen, you want to have a good knife to make sure everything's cutting very, very precisely. Another thing is a peeler. It's funny, a lot of people tend to deter from this particular peeler just because it does look very inexpensive, very, very cheap. This peeler is gold. This particular peeler. You can find this on Amazon. They usually sell them in 3 packs. It is very inexpensive, roughly about maybe $2 a peeler, but this one works flawlessly on things, and if you do take care of it, it will last a lifetime. So a lot of times you want your peeler when you are going to be doing peels on lemons, limes, oranges, things like that, to express those oils, and this one will give you a very solid, good peel. This one is Diego's favorite. This is going to be your muddler. So there are going to be a lot of different things. You see a lot of muddlers, wooden muddlers. Some old school bartenders really do enjoy using the wooden muddler, but a lot of times it doesn't have as long as a life, or if you're not taking care of that properly, it will deteriorate very fast. This particular one is from Cocktail Kingdom as well. It's a really heavy duty muddler. I actually also use this one when I do a lot of baking. I utilize it as a rolling pin as well, things like that, but this one will not fail you and it will have a very long lifespan. And of course, wine key. Very important, obviously, if you are a fan of wine. I know a bunch of people might talk shit on my cheap wine key. However, this one is the most amazing wine key I've ever used. Even though you sommeliers probably won't believe me, I promise you, I do love this old school wine key where it doesn't really have the cheater assist on it. A wine key is really important. A lot of the cocktails that we do showcase will have wine in them or things like that. So we will go over in our later videos how to properly open a bottle of wine as well if you were struggling with that or maybe wondered how to do that. So this is going to be Bar Tools 101. We really hope you enjoyed watching it as much as we enjoyed doing it. Please don't forget to subscribe below and tune into our other videos. Our next couple of videos, we will be showcasing the 30 days of classic cocktails. So we are going to go over how to traditionally do every single classic cocktail, at least 30 of them. Thank you.